Hello everyone, welcome to my course Mechanical Measurements and Metrology 18ME 350. This course is offered by Department of Mechanical Engineering, Jagaraja College of Engineering, Madurai, myself Prakash. So from this video lecture we are planning to discuss force measurements. Learning outcome: the learners will be able to select suitable instruments for force measurements. Content: these are the topics we are going to discuss: measurement of force under torque, platform balance, load cell and cantilever beam. So before begin force measurement, what's the difference between mass, force and torque? So mass, it's a quantity of matter that a body contains. Force, it is defined as an influence that causes an object to change its rate or direction of movement or rotations. So mass, it describes the quantity of matter that a body contains. So force can be defined as an influence that causes an object to change its rate or direction of movement or rotation. A force can accelerate the objects by pulling or pushing them. So from Newton's second law of motion, force is the product of mass and acceleration. We know that for F equal to m into a. It can be either horizontal or it may be the vertical direction, vertical forces. If the force is vertical or downward direction, then the mass subject to gravitational force is calibrated as the acting force. So vertical force equal to weight we can calculate as mass into acceleration due to gravity. So F equal to m into g if vertical force acts. Torque can be regarded as the rotational force. When applied to a body, torque causes the body to rotate about its axis of rotations. So how to measure force? There are many ways. Number one, measuring unknown force by measuring the acceleration when it's applied to a body of known mass. So F equal to m into a. In order to measure force, we can measure the acceleration as well as unknown mass. The second method, from measuring the variation in the resonant frequency of vibrating wire as it is intensed by an applied force. The third method, we can use load cells. From of load cells that deforms in the horizontal or vertical direction when horizontal and vertical forces are applied can also be used as a force sensors. The fourth method, applying unknown force to an elastic member and measuring the resulting deflection on calibrated force scale. In other way, translating the force into fluid pressure and then measuring the resultant pressure. So pressure can be calibrated as a force, balancing force against a magnetic force which is developed by interaction of a magnet and current in oil. Okay, so we are going to measure, we can measure the force with the help of magnetic force, fluid pressure, elastic member, load cell, balancing. So these are the classification of force measurement. We have a three classification: mechanical weighing system, elastic transducers, and I consider other parts. Remaining is the others. So mechanical weighing system can be classified as two-way: direct, indirect method. So direct, we have a equal arm balance, unequal arm balance. Indirect method, we have a platform balance. So elastic transducers, we have a strain gauge, probing ring, etc. Others, it may be the cantilever beam, or it may be piezoelectric type load cell, or it may be hydraulic and pneumatic systems. So measurements of force can be done by any two methods. One is a direct method. It involves direct comparison with a known gravitational force on a standard mass. Example, physical balance. Indirect method. This involves the comparison with measurement of force effect on a body. Example, force is calculated from acceleration due to gravity and the mass of the component. So we can measure the force in two ways. One is a direct, another one is a indirect. So we can measure the force directly with the help of known mass. Unknown mass is calibrated to known mass, we can directly measure. The second way is the indirect method. We can measure the force with the help of effects on the forces. So equal arm balance. So from this image you can easily observe that there are two mass, standard mass and then unknown mass. Standard mass is a known mass. So we have an arm L1 and L2. The length of the arms are L1 and L2. The pointer is placed on the center. So we have two arms in equal length. The principle is moment comparisons. So moment produced by unknown mass or force is equal to moment produced by known mass due to the gravitational force. For null balance, W1 equal to L1, moment W1 L1 equal to W2 L2. If it is a equivalent, then L1 equal to L2, then we can easily measure W2 as a W1 from W1. But here we have some limitations. Generally it is applied only for low loads. In order to measure heavy load, we need a set of heavy weighing stones. So a required set of weights to measure heavy load. To overcome this drawback, we can use unequal arm balance. Unequal arm balance. So here we have two arms, namely load and power arm. For null balance, W2 into A. W2 is nothing but unknown mass, and A, moment. W2 into A equal to W1 into B. So W1 is the known mass. So if you want to measure unknown mass, we can use small amount of known mass, but we can change the distance B. We can change the B in such a way that the pointer gives a zero value. So we can calculate the heavy load with the help of small load. This is one of the advantages for unequal arm balance. So previous two cases we use only one platform, but now this is the platform balance. Here we can have more than one platform. From this image you can easily observe that there are three platforms. So W, this is the platform number 2, and we can consider this as a platform 3. So we for null cases without adding any load, the pointer, the scale, it gives a zero value. If I am adding the load W, the weight of the W1 and W2 will act on the other platforms. So this rod get tension. So the reading, it gives some value. So we need to adjust Poise weight and pan weight. So here we have two more weights, Poise weight and pan weight. So Poise weight can be adjusted in such a way that the reading should be in 0 or central position. So we can adjust Poise weight. So we can get 0 reading. The W is calibrated with the help of Poise weight and pan weight. This is an indirect way. So this value we can get it from this scale. It's a mechanical weighing system, platform balance. So these are some of the working mathematical formulations. Okay. So next topic is to be elastic members. When force is applied on the elastic member, the dimensions undergo a change. If the strain gauge is bonded to the elastic member, the gauge is stretched or compressed, resulting in a change in its length and diameter. The dimension of the strain gauge changes due to the change in resistance. This change in resistance of the strain gauge gives the measures of applied force. So elastic members, strain gauges. So strain gauges are used to measure force. The strain gauge is bonded with the elastic member. If you applied load, the dimensions of elastic members will change. This causes the change in resistance in strain gauges. So it gives the electrical signal. So based on the electrical signal, we can easily measure the force. The next topic, it's a load cell. So load cell is a force sensor that frequently incorporate mechanical packaging for fit into testing and monitoring system. It can be used for tension, compression and or shear measurement, and can be configured to measure force or load along multiple axes. Applications are mechanical testing, ongoing system monitoring, and devices such as individual weighing modules and scales. So this is the image of load cell. Here you can easily observe that there are three things. One is we have a compression strain gauge, and then we have a tension strain gauge. Normally we can use multiple strain gauges to measure the force. So this is, we can say, it's a strain gauge batch. This is an industrial representation of strain gauge. So load cell is classified as the force transducers. So transducer is a device which converts one form of energy into another form of energy. So load cell converts force or weight into an electrical signal. So strain gauge, it is a heart of the load cell, device that changes resistance when it is tested. developed from an ultra thin heated treat metallic foil and are chemically bonded to a thin electrical dielectric layer. So what is meant by Koch patches? So it is mounted to the stain element with specially formulated adhesives. Each Koch patch consists of one or more fine wires cemented to the surface of a beam, ring or column within the load cell. So if you give any force or any stress, the wires it get stressed. So due to the stress, the change in resistance will happen. This indicate the electric force measurements. So here this is one of the examples for load cell. Here the cylinder part is to be elastic member. We connected multiple strain gauges. Here for example, here we have a 4 resistance, namely R1, R2, R3 and R4. The 4 resistance will form the Wheatstone bridge. It contains 4 resistance, R1, R2, R3 and R4 forms the Wheatstone bridge. R1 and R2 is fixed along axis of elastic member, and also it is used to measure longitudinal strain. Similarly, R2 and R3 fixed along perpendicular to axis of elastic member and is used to measure transverse strain. For ideal state, that is no load is applied, V0 equal to Vs. Here V0 is the output voltage, Vs is the supply voltage. So without adding any load, output voltage is equal to the supply voltage. If we applied load or if force is applied over the elastic member, Vs will changes. The reason is the resistance changes. So Wheatstone bridge resistance changes. Due to the change in Wheatstone bridge resistance, it will give the other output voltage, different output voltage. So it can be calculated by using this formula, V0 by Vs into R2 divided by R2 plus R1 minus R4 divided by R4 plus R3. So if the surface to which Koch is attached becomes strained, then the wire stretch or compress, changing the resistance proportional to the applied load. One or more strain gauges are used in making of load cell. Multiple strain gauges are connected to create the 4 legs of Wheatstone bridge configuration. When input voltage is applied to the bridge, the output becomes voltage proportional to the force on the cell. This output can be amplified and processed by the conventional electrical instrumentations. So these are some of the applications of load cell, like engine dynamometer, brake testing, checking connector injection force, spring testing, batch weighing, etc. The next topic is cantilever beam. Cantilever beam is a rigid structural element that extends horizontally and is supported at only one end. So we have 2 ends, namely fixed end and free end. Fixed end is supported by vertical beam. Typically it extends from a flat vertical surface such as a wall to which it must be firmly attached. Like other structural element, a cantilever can be formed as a beam, plate, truss or slab. So this is the examples of cantilever beam. It is the simplest type of load cell of force measurements. It is work on the principle bending moment developed in the beam is proportional to applied force to the end of beam. If force is applied in free end, then deflection will occur in free end and strain occurs in the fixed end. So here we place our strain gauges. So if you apply the force, the deformation will happen. So the change beam dimension will changes. It will affect the strain gauges. The resistance of strain gauges will vary due to the changes in resistance. We will give it gives the different output voltage. So we can easily calibrate output voltage as a force. Okay, so strain gauge is attached to the fixed end and so it will measure the strain and it is calibrated as a force. These are some of the examples for cantilever beams. Thank you.